Not that long ago, monitors with refresh rate of 144 Hz and above were a pinnacle of technology and something many gamers dreamt about, especially those who had a powerful enough hardware at that point to reap the benefits of a high refresh rate at Full HD. The fact that today high refresh rate models are available even in the lowest price bracket is a testament to how fast the technology advances and how something that was a novelty yesterday can today be available to anyone. Even though this year we're most excited about 4K and mini LED monitors, we should not forget the budget lineup, especially since the prices of powerful GPUs have skyrocketed due to shortages in crypto mining, so many gamers are still forced to play in Full HD on a hardware that is available at a somewhat more normal price. For those users, today we're testing a monitor from MSI, a company best known for its motherboards and graphics cards, but that has been very active on the monitor market in recent years. The MSI Optix MAG274R2 is a 27-inch model that combines the Full HD resolution and 165Hz refresh rate with some more advanced specs such as 10-bit IPS panel with HDR support and many gaming-related features, all at a price of around $200. So let's see what you actually get for your money and how this monitor performs in real use. In terms of design, MAG274R2 successfully combines a more discreet look with some flashy gaming details, managing to achieve an effective visual impression, but without going overboard, which is often the case with gaming monitors. The front of the panel is fairly classic, with a thin frame on the top and the sides, and about 4mm of additional margin, and a somewhat wider bottom bezel, which is shaped in a way that makes it look more interesting than the usual flat bezel we find on most models. The back of the panel is where the style comes into play, with alternating rough hard plastic, smooth glossy, carbon textured and brush metal textured surfaces, a lot of different elements but placed so it all fits well and looks very interesting. A central part above the stand attachment is glossy with an electronic PCB pattern, and right above it is a gap that hides an indented RGB light, effective and not as eye-poking solution as what we usually see. The light is programmable with 12 independent zones and 10 effects, and of course supports syncing with other MSI Mystic Light-enabled devices. On the back there's also an MSI Dragon emblem and red stick, which reminded us of ThinkPad laptops, which is used to control the menu and is very practical. The base of the stand is perhaps a bit oversized, though it does make the monitor very stable, while the rest of it has an interesting shape that adds to the overall style and an obligatory hole for cable management. The stand allows you to swivel the panel by 75 degrees left and right, which is quite flexible, tilt it by 5 degrees down or 20 degrees up, set the height in 10 cm range, and pivot the panel by 90 degrees both ways, with a small caveat that the panel does not stick to the 0 point, so you might need a spirit level to make sure it's perfectly flat with your desk. All the connectors are located on the bottom of the back of the panel, where you'll find one display port to HDMI 2.0B and USB Type-C port, which is also capable of transferring video signal. There's also a 3.5mm headphone jack, one upstream USB port for connection to your PC, and two USB 2.0 ports for connecting peripherals, plus a connector for an external power adapter. When you connect the upstream port to your PC, it will automatically offer to install the MSI Gaming OSD 2.0 software, which can be used to set all the monitor's parameters and options, update firmware and select picture modes directly within the OS. It also allows you to control some gaming-specific options like a programmable alarm or a crosshair display, which in this case also lets you adjust its position on the screen, something we've not seen before. The software also offers some handy features for automatic splitting of the screen and window arrangements. You can even program an additional key, which is located under the left edge of the panel, and assign it a function of your choice, for instance to split the active apps the way you like. Even though the software control is really practical, you can of course also use the mini joystick and nicely designed menu, which also makes any adjustments quick and easy. As for the gaming features, MSI MAG274R2 comes with a 164Hz refresh rate and officially supports both NVIDIA G-Sync compatible and AMD FreeSync Premium variable refresh rate standards. Official specs sheet says that the range of variable refresh rate is between 30 and 165, but AMD driver reports 48 to 165 Hz, though the monitor should compensate for any frame rate below the minimal refresh rate. The response time is officially 1 millisecond, but in reality this IPS panel is noticeably slower than some recent fast IPS models, so in UFO test at 165 Hz you can notice a slight trail behind fast-moving objects, which also indicates that the panel overdrive is not ideally tuned, no matter if you set it to normal, fast or fastest. Still, in games at high refresh rate, the MAG274R2 leaves a very good impression, much better than we would expect judging from the UFO test, without noticeable ghosting, with very smooth display and excellent input lag of only 8.5 milliseconds, which is one of the lowest scores we've measured with our instrument on any model. Like many gaming models, this one also supports backlight strobing, a feature MSI calls MPRT, which when activated does significantly improve the response time, close to rated 1 millisecond, but that also duplicates the edges of fast-moving objects, which along with the fact that MPRT cannot be used simultaneously with variable refresh rate, unfortunately makes this feature practically useless. We should also mention the night vision feature, which raises the black level to make spotting opponents in the shadows easier, but which in this case also has an AI mode that does not raise the level by a fixed amount, but adjusts it depending on the scene, which works pretty well and makes this feature actually useful not only for gaming but for movies as well. As for the panel performance, it is an IPS with expectedly good viewing angles, but atypically good backlight uniformity and negligible IPS glow. The resolution of 1920 by 1080 pixels on a 27-inch screen is on the lower end of things, so even though it looks decent, picky users may wish for at least QHD, not so much for games as for nicer text display. The maximum measured brightness on this panel was 342 nits, so the HDR ready in the official specs is just referring to the support for activating HDR in games, as the panel is not bright enough to meet even the basic HDR 400 requirements. Still, what sets this model apart is the ability to display 10 bits per color channel, specifically its 8 bits plus FRC, and the color gamut coverage we've measured was truly impressive with 92.8% of DCI-P3, which is one of the best we've seen on any monitor so far. Thanks to this, activating HDR will make some sense, as you will be able to see more colors than SDR is able to display, even if the contrast is far from HDR requirements. Speaking of which, the static contrast of this model is actually remarkable for an IPS panel, with 1348:1 in most picture modes, even reaching 2177 in movie mode in our black and white checkerboard pattern test, which limits the use of dynamic contrast that this mode uses. All white and black screen measurements in the same mode give a dynamic contrast figure of 3021:1, so the actual usable contrast in real use scenarios is clearly excellent for this type of panel. Even though this monitor excels at gamut coverage, factory color calibration is not on an equal level, so the best measured delta E deviation was in movie mode, a merely decent 3.6, which is a shame as this model has huge potential and with proper calibration could be a tool for some color critical work as well. In any case, MSI Optix MAG274R2 is an interesting monitor, which at around $300 has some features that set it apart from other models in this class, even if it may not be the fastest of the bunch. We're mainly referring to a contrast and white color gamut coverage, which combined with low input lag, 165Hz refresh rate, and official G-Sync and FreeSync support, make this model an intriguing choice for anyone looking for a Full HD gaming monitor with an IPS panel. Of course, we expect to hear your opinion as well, so let us know in the comments below what you think of this MSI monitor. That would be all for this review. We hope you found it useful and enjoyed it enough to give us a thumbs up, and maybe consider subscribing to our channel for more interesting tech reviews. You were watching Bench House, my name is Ivan, and I'll see you next time.